I'm Himali
Yes.
Nalawde. As we all know, Vijnana Bharati has organized a two-day conference starting from April 22nd in recognition of the Indian national calendar. Along with Vijnana Bharati, various renowned science institutions such as the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Madhya Pradesh Council of Science and Technology, Ayuka, IIA, Vikram University Ujjain, IIT Indore are involved among the organizers of the conference. Today, we have with us the National Organizing Secretary of Vijnana Bharati, Jayant Sahasrabuddhe sir. He will be sharing his as well as Vijnana Bharati's insights about this initiative that they have taken up. Namaste Jayantji.
Namaste.
Sir, please explain what the Indian national calendar is and why was a harmonized calendar required in India?
Namaste. So, thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak about our national calendar and, of course, why it was formulated for the use of people of our country. As we have many national symbols, like we have national bird, national animal, so there is a national calendar. We all know that we are celebrating Swatantrata Ka Amrit Mahotsav this year. We know the important aspect of this word Swatantrata. There is a letter which is very famous as Swa. Those who attacked or invaded our country, they wanted to destroy the identity of India. So naturally, they imposed many things which were alien to our country. And naturally, because of their rule, we had to follow all those things. But as soon as we got independence, Swatantrata, we thought that we should reinstate or restore our national identities. And one such national identity was our calendric system. So it was very natural that after gaining independence, we thought of formulating our own calendar. We all know that British came here and they actually gave us a different kind of political or governing system. That is a system which is under one umbrella and which will govern this entire country with great length and breadth. Before that, we never had that kind of system. So, on regional basis, we used to have different almanacs. They are very scientific in nature, and naturally, our government, independent of government, which of government of independent India, formulated or constituted a committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Meghnad Saha, who was one of the most well-known agrophysicists of our country across the globe. And there were other 6 members who were expert in this field. And this committee was constituted in 1952. And after a rigorous scientific work, they could formulate and prepare Indian national calendar that was proposed to the parliament of our country uh, in the beginning of 1957, and our parliament accepted this calendar for our country. So this is how that particular calendar is known as our national calendar, because it has a signature of Indianness. So that is how it is called as Indian national calendar. So it is very much related with our culture, with our ancient Indian science also.
Yes, sir, as you mentioned, that it is very much related to the ancient Indian knowledge of sciences. So, can you please explain the scientific nature, particularly of the Indian national calendar, and the role of Indian sciences in its creation?
Yeah, it's a good question, most pertinent question. Uh, we all know that our ancient calendric system is based on pure science. Because all over the country, though we do celebrate different days in different regions in our country, all those days, according to that particular mathematics, is a day where day and night are equal. So that particular word, we call it as Vishuva. So in Kerala, they call it as Vishu. So that Vishu word is very much connected or related this concept that the only day in this entire 365 days year, that is the first day, which we call it as a first day of calendar, that is a day when day and night are equal. So they are equally divided, 12 hours. That is the biggest scientificity of this calendar. So we begin our or new year with this particular day, and that has been that was acknowledged, and that is the science, because otherwise there is no science behind 1st of January. It is most religious in nature. But our people took a very scientific stand, and they said that let us start our year with this particular day. So there is a typical, very astronomical thing happens, that is called as equinox, when sun exactly comes over the equator. So in our language, we call it as Vishuva Vrutta. Vishuva, if you go to Amar Kosha of Sanskrit, you will find what is the meaning of Vishuva. Vishuva indicates the equal day and night. So that is the great significant thing. So this is the scientific thing about this calendar. We start this new year or first day of new year on this particular day. And even in nature, today's science is talking about natural clock, biological clock, and we can very well observe that even we can see several changes in nature around us. So this is how that kind of scientificity is there for this calendar. So we begin this calendar on this particular day, and there are many other aspects also, that how these people, our experts who could formulate this calendar, they took cognizance of different sankrantis or equinoxes which happen throughout the year, and those days have been taken as the beginning of that particular month. Then think about nakshatras. That is the very much that concept is very much identified with India. And when we call this first month as Chaitra, so it is very much related with nakshatra chitra, because this word has been derived from that word chitra. Chitra is a nakshatra. So what our ancestors thought, that in the month we will have one full moon day, and that full moon day, when any nakshatra is connected with that full moon day, that name should be given to that particular month. So it is not about some goddesses or god or something like that. It is exactly some astronomical thing which is happening in those means in space. We are taking cognizance of that. So that is the important point we should note over here. So our calendar, this committee adopted all these months with all our Indian names, Chaitra, Vaishak, Jyeshtha, Ashad, and all those names are derived from the names of nakshatras. So that is another aspect of it. So likewise, there are many things. One more aspect we should note is first 6 months of this calendar are of 31 days, because from this day onwards, when we have this equinox, vernal equinox, spring vernal equinox, from that day onwards, our day becomes longer. We get sunshine more than the darkness. So, accepting this fact, they said that we will have longer days in month for this first 6 months period. So they have taken this, taken note of this natural thing, And they said that for all first 6 months we will have 31 days, and for rest 6 months we will have 30 days. So that is how they have formulated this calendar. So it is very well connected with Indian culture, means because it is a scientific culture. Science was already there existing over here in this country, and based on that only we used to celebrate our first day of new year. So we should take note of this. And I don't know whether I should mention it over here or not, but this was the practice across the globe, because even in Europe, the first day of New Year was 1st of April. Many of us do not know this fact, but even in those parts of the world, the first day was not used to be the 1st of January. It came because of the Gregory, who was a pope at Vatican, and he did some kind of changes in Julian calendar, and then he presented that was adopted across the Europe. And now, because of that imperialistic or rule they had, they imposed that calendar on rest of the territories which were under their occupation. So that is how we came to know about that Gregorian calendar. Otherwise, we used to follow our own calendric system. So immediately after having independence, we thought of having our own calendric system.
Right. So, as you mentioned, that there is so much history to these sciences of this our own land. So, I would like to know from you that why do you personally think that it is important for India in today's time to head back to the decision that was taken in 1957 of the adoption of the Indian national calendar, and at the same time, I want you to share that why has Vigyan Bharati upheld the purpose of the Indian national calendar, especially in today's time?
Yeah. Vijnana Bharati is basically a science movement with Swadeshi spirit. So one of the many aspects of our work is to spread science and create scientific temper in society. So why we should not take this great example of our calendric system, which is based on scientific things? We can spread science through calendar too. So this is the best thing. Based on this calendar and many things on which this calendar has been formulated, we can take science to people. We can create scientific temper in our society. So that is how Vijnana Bharati gave a thought that we should take up this matter, because it is very much scientific in nature, and we will be able to spread science and create scientific awareness in our society through this calendar. That is one reason. Another reason is, as I have mentioned already, that we are all celebrating Swatantrata Ka Amrut Mahotsav. So we need to reflect on our freedom struggle. Why that freedom struggle was fought, and what were the issues? As I already mentioned, that aggressors or invaders, they were jeopardizing our identity. Their attack was mainly on the selfhood of our nation. So naturally, we need to rejuvenate or reinstate those things which are naturally called as identity of our country. And this calendar is very much scientific in nature. Vijnana Bharati this year has done a lot of research work on this particular topic: freedom movement and domain of science. Generally, there is a feeling in our people's mind that this entire freedom struggle was mostly political in nature, but it was not like that. This entire struggle was carried out in all the walks of life, and scientific domain was not an exception. Our scientists did everything to gain swatantrata, and we have published many articles, many research articles on this particular topic. And while going through those things, we had a thought that yes, this was also one aspect, that how our invaders tried to jeopardize our own systems, which gave identity to our country. And all these things were based on science. So we picked up one such uh, identity of our country, which was means all invaders tried to destroy that identity. So we thought that let us take up this identity. And one more reason is, though we are not really successful even today in restoring all our identities after gaining independence, but this was an effort of our people to formulate our own calendric system for our country as a symbol of independence. So we thought of taking up this particular matter in this particular year, because it is very much relevant to have that kind of celebration in this year. So this idea was taken up by Vijnana Bharati.
Right, sir. So when we talk about the Indian national calendar, there is one name that mainly deserves recognition, as you mentioned him earlier, uh, Dr. Meghnad Saha. So please share with us the significance of Dr. Saha's contribution in this area.
I won't be able to tell you something particular about this area, but he was a great astrophysicist and he was a great patriot also. His teacher was Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai, and Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai was a great patriot. He was of this opinion. There is a famous quote by him: "Science can wait, Swaraj cannot." And there are many other things. Acharya Prafulla Chandra Rai was a great doyen of chemistry. He is known as father of modern chemistry in our country. And he was not only a teacher of many students like Meghnad Saha. In means Many of students say that he was a teacher who inculcated patriotic feelings in students' mind by teaching several things to them. But he was not just a teacher; he was a great entrepreneur, and in his whole lifetime, he could start 37 industries for the self-reliant India. Then he wrote a great book, a very famous book, The History of Hindu Chemistry, and he could highlight the aspects of development of chemistry in India from ancient times till 16th century. And he could prove literally that how today's modern chemistry has taken great many things or taken support from Indian chemistry, Indian development of chemistry. So he was a teacher of Meghnad Saha, and he could put those seeds of patriotism in Meghnad Saha's mind since his student days. And that is how Meghnad Saha always used to say that we need to regain our identity. So, though he was a great physicist, astrophysicist particularly, he always used to think that how we can gain or regain our identity. So naturally, it was very natural that he was made chairman of this calendar reform committee, and under his leadership, India could get its national calendar.
Right, sir. And as you earlier mentioned that there was, as India was having a political struggle for its freedom, there was a science and technology based struggle parallelly running at the same time. So at that time, uh, the scientists, they worked really hard, just as the calendar reform committee. And there were several movements, like they were not actually movements, they were not recognized as movements, but they were potential movements that led to India's independence in a very different way. So even the Indian national calendar was one such potential movement, but it never grabbed the status of a movement. But hopefully, it will now that Vigyan Bharati has taken up the initiative, it will. So why do you think that, where did it lag behind, that the acceptance, the social acceptance of the Indian national calendar over all these years? Why did that happen, do you think?
Yeah, first thing we need to note is, after formulating this calendar and when our parliament accepted and adopted this calendar, they clearly mentioned that this is only for uh, the use of administration. That is the first thing. They never said that all people should adopt this for their daily use of this calendar. So that is the first thing which we should note. But unfortunate parties, though government has categorically said this, that administration, this is mainly for administrative purposes, but no one accepted it even in the government. I don't know what has happened, but in my opinion, that we have not still come out of this, what I should say, shadow of this colonial mindset. I think that is the main reason. See, even today, recently on 21st of March, I met the Minister of State of Culture, Government of India, Shri Arjun Meghwal. We had a meeting, and immediately after meeting, he was supposed to go to a parliament recently, in last month itself. So he showed me, when I started with this topic, he showed me a paper that was a question to the Ministry of Culture, and he was supposed to give answer to that. But as a heading on the starting of that paper, it was written particularly March 21 and Falgun 30. So our parliament is making use of it. They are actually using that calendar. But even in the parliament, and parliamentarians do not know what do we mean by Falgun 30. Because as we know that 22nd of March is the first day of new India's new calendar, a national calendar. So that was a Falgun 30, as I mentioned, because all rest last 6 months they will have days 30. So it was very natural that Falgun 30 means last day of the, not only of that month, but last day of the year. But Arjunji Meghwal told me that, we always mention this in all our papers, official papers, but people do not understand what is this, why we are mentioning this. So I think there is a lack of awareness about it. Our government has not taken strong stand that only this calendar should be used. I have come to know that when we do all kind of agreements with different countries around the world, specifically they mention this uh, dinank of Indian national calendar. Unless we keep that dinank over that document, it is not getting approved. So that is the importance of this Indian national calendar. But that has not been popularized. Unfortunately, we are using Gregorian calendar, which is which should not be used, because which is not really scientific in nature. Of course, it was there. There are many countries in the world which are using that calendar. But there are many countries in the world, they are using their own calendric systems. Why not India? So lack of awareness is there. Many people, I should not name them over here, but I can certainly tell you, because it is my experience recently. Many officials, higher position officials, many directors of IITs and vice chancellors of universities, even they have not heard of this word national calendar. They have heard of many national symbols like national bird, national animal. But when I did ask them that, have you heard of this name? They said, no, we have never come across this kind of terminology, national calendar. So I think there is a lack of awareness, even though there are people in our country who are trying to spread awareness about this calendar for last almost 25 years. But they are having, means they are experiencing many challenges, and main challenges is our colonial hangover. We should come out of it. That is what even my experience now is. We should make people aware of our own identity, and then things will happen very nicely. So we have given thought to this, that let us take up this issue and create awareness about it. And already there are few people, institution heads, who have acknowledged this effort, and they said we have started using this calendar. And there are many other things also. These people, those who are having this kind of campaign of spreading awareness about this calendar, they have given means many ideas or things they have done. And one such thing is, many of those people, they have started writing dates according to Indian national calendar on the checks. And first, when they approached any bank with such checks with dates of Indian national calendar, uh, banks refused to accept those checks. But initially, banks had to accept that, because now Reserve Bank of India has officially given letter to all those banks that if any person comes with this date, which is according to Indian national calendar, all those checks are to be accepted. And Indian Banks Association has sent letter to all banks in our country that this is an official calendar of our country, and any Indian citizen who comes up with this date on any check, that is to be accepted. So there are many such things which are happening in our country. And now there are people that who are having insisting that I will not have my Aadhaar card unless our government accepts or start using this our Indian national calendar. So they are fighting for that. So it is very surprising that even in independent India, we are fighting to establish our own identities, even after gaining independence. But there are people, those who are doing right kind of job in this direction. So we are spreading awareness, that's all. And I'm hopeful, confident that people will acknowledge this and they will start using this calendar.
Right. So as you mentioned, there is that colonial hangover that is restricting everyone from accepting such indigenous concepts. So please, uh, please let me know, or please share that what can the people of the India, what can the society contribute in this area, because India is a democracy, and no one other than the people of India themselves have the power to bring such changes, such conceptual changes in the country. So what can the people uh, do uh, to bring in this change?
So it is a very simple thing they need to resolve in their life, that I will, whoever so that person is, I will use this calendar in my life. That's all. Because no one is going to stop you. No one is going to refuse your use of this calendar, because this has been constitutionally adopted. This has been adopted and accepted by our parliament. Even now it is in use, but it is not very popular. So it lacks popularity. And let's start using that. That's all. I think that will serve the purpose. And I think our people are wise enough to understand all these facts. Only thing is that they are not really aware about it. So our effort is to knock the doors of many institutions, so that they will start using this. And naturally, those who are working in those institutions will come to know that, yes, this is what Indian national calendar means, and let's use that. So that is what is required now.
Yes, sir. So we'll straight away move towards the conference now. So please tell us what the conference is all about, and how has been the participation for the conference so far?
So we have received a very good response regarding this conference. We thought of celebrating this Swatantrata Ka Amrit Mahotsav by highlighting our scientific identity of our country, which was means effort was done to regain that scientific identity by formulating a national calendar. And this entire 2 day conference is regarding spreading awareness about this Indian national calendar. Uh, Naturally, we approached many institutions, as you mentioned in your first initial comments, and all were happy when we approached Ministry of Culture, because they are actually coordinating all these celebration events of this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav as a part of government of India. When we did approach them, they came forward, they welcomed this move, and they said we will be a part of it. So Ministry of Culture is also one of the main organizers of this entire event, and we are getting support from many institutions, as you mentioned. And wherever we are going now, uh, saying that, see, this is what our scientific great people did for our country, and that is how we could regain our identity. So they are accepting all these things. Initially, naturally, they look at us with great surprise that, oh, before this, we could never even hear this kind of idea. But this conference is all about spreading awareness about this idea of Indian national calendar. We thought that we will have almost around 300 participants physically present over here at Ujjain, and we started spreading this word to different people. And as at this point of time, I have received an information that more than 1,000 people from different parts of our country have already registered to be a part of this 2 day conference. But naturally, we won't be able to accommodate all of them, because our limit is 300. But all can join this entire 2 day event through digital platform. So it is open for all those participants who have already registered for that. And we are making arrangements to uh, uh, telecast this through YouTube, so anyone can just be a part of it. So that is how great response is there. People are very much enthusiastic about it. They are coming up with different ideas to spread this thing to all our people in our country. So response is very good.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing such insightful details about the Indian national calendar. I'm sure it will help our audience to understand what, first of all, what is the Indian national calendar to begin with, and henceforth every other detail that is related to the national calendar. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your efforts also, because through such efforts we will be able to reach out to many people in our country. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The national conference about the Indian national calendar will start from 10 a.m. onwards on 22nd April and will conclude on April 23rd. Please stay tuned for more updates about the conference on News Bharati. And as Sir said, that people will be able to join the conference virtually through YouTube as well. Thank you.